What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are going to be jumping into Lazarus Planet, Revenge of the Gods, issue number 1. This will be a limited series, coming from writer Willow Wilson. The artist is C. Tormey. The colorist is Jordi Belair. And this is giving us the war between two pantheons. After the events of Lazarus Planet, the gods of the multiverse have decided to take down the heroes they once called champions and the world that they have sworn to protect. For the years, the gods have sat idle atop their mountains as their legends faded into obscurity. Now is their time to remind the selfish mortals of their existence and take back the world with something more powerful than belief. That, of course, is fear. With only two heroes truly standing in their way, Wonder Woman and Shazam. Will their combined powers be enough to stop the gods? Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so we are starting off in Philadelphia. Two regular, average day people walking down the street, walking their children. They are simply discussing life, discussing their day-to-day, discussing their relationships and everything else. That's when one of them is hit with something. This something gives her a vision. That's when the two of them begin to argue. But this isn't the only thing that happens. Randomly across the street, it starts to happen to everybody. Everybody is seeing the future. They are getting their fortune told. Some of this bad, some of this good. Some seeing the winning lottery numbers. Others seeing that next Thursday they may have a stroke. And in the clouds, we have Apollo with his bow, saying that they have spent so long in their small, meaningless lives that they have forgotten every gift from the god is also a curse. That's where we have Billy walking onto the street. Witnessing all of this happening, he's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. That's when he gets shot with a pink arrow. Pulling it out, not really understanding what is happening. It doesn't seem to have any effect on him. But what Apollo says is that even that which you desire, you should fear. That they have forgotten how to honor the gods. But today, they are going to learn. Apollo, giver of prophecy, is about to teach them. And this is not an isolated incident to Philadelphia. The pantheons across the world are all doing this. From Cairo to Tokyo. From Iceland to Mount Olympus, we are seeing that the gods are coming to life. They are striking fear into the hearts of mortals. And it seems the source of all of this is at Mount Olympus. Zeus has been overthrown, his body lying dead and limp on the ground, because there is a new ruler. That is Queen Hera. Standing behind her, we have the wizard Shazam. It appears that he is the one behind all of this, acting like a Merlin to Arthur. He is the one guiding Hera to do all of this, that he has foreseen what is to come. It appears that the Lazarus Reigns had shown him all of this, that Queen Hera will carry them all to victory. Across the face of the earth, mankind will begin to tremble before the might of the old gods. And though they may fear you in the temporary, that fear will eventually turn into love. That is where Hermes comes in, letting it be known that there was a great victory won in Iceland, that they have built a shrine to the goddess there, the first in 1,000 years. This, of course, is excellent news. The time of mortal ambition is over, and the revenge of the gods is finally at hand. That is what takes us to Washington, D.C. We have Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl, and some others that are currently discussing what is going on. They know that they need a plan. While they could try to unite the armies of the entire world against the god, they do have the numbers to fight this. But to do this, you would have to broker world peace and then defeat the gods themselves. This is where Yara Flor tells Wonder Woman that you need to go up there and confront them. She is the daughter of Zeus, a link between this world and that. If the gods won't listen, then they won't listen to anybody. and Wonder Woman knows that she is right. While she is apprehensive, this is because the most powerful weapon of the gods has yet to be revealed. Reluctantly, she agrees that she will travel to Olympus and she will plead their case, telling them that if she doesn't return in 2 days, assume that she has failed and prepare to defend yourselves. This is where we pick up elsewhere. 2 boys looking in the creek, scared that there may be monsters here, but they also hear that there might be a treasure. This is where a cloaked man lets us know that there is treasure here. He jumps into the water. He reaches into the depths and he pulls out a golden hand. Now this isn't just any hand. This is the hand of a god. And he says that it will change the course of this war moving forward. That is what takes us to Mount Olympus. Wonder Woman has made her way atop this mountain, and she is asking where her mother is, and why the king of the gods lies defiled and unburied like an old pile of rags. Hera lets it be known that she didn't care about him because he was a useless adulterer. She finds him more appealing as a corpse. As for Wonder Woman's mother, she has been sent on an errand, asking what message Wonder Woman brings. There is no message, but a question, asking if this carnage is worthy of the gods, buying their power through suffering and death. And what will they gain through this horror that is really worth having? This is when Hera poses her a question, asking her if what she has by her side with the mortals is really worth sacrificing, because it never occurred to Wonder Woman that if the gods die out, the Amazons will die with them. Now, of course, she believes that this isn't true. Not having the guidance of her mother, she doesn't know what is fact and what is fiction. But Hera goes on to say that the Amazons are created of the same undying substance as the gods. Without the revenants of humankind, Themyscira will perish. Now, Wonder Woman knows that Themyscira is not part of Olympus, that they may be like gods, but they are not gods themselves. This is exactly what Wonder Woman had feared. The hidden weapon of the gods, trickery, with Hera telling her that she now must choose her sister Amazons or the mortal men of Earth. With Wonder Woman saying that there must be another way. They tell her that there is not. That if she sides with them, the sister Amazons will be spared. And Hera thinks it's silly that she would even pretend to be upset. No serious person could honestly object to becoming a goddess. But she would give up every power she has to prevent her sisters from suffering, or to protect the mortal world from terror and oppression. This is exactly what Queen Hera wanted to hear. Wonder Woman knows that she has already made a mistake, but it is too late. Asking what she must do, Hera tells her nothing. That it is actually a much simpler process than one might think, turning somebody into a god. Zeus always made such a fuss about it, but now that she has this power, she actually finds it quite trivial. This is where we see something begin to happen to Wonder Woman. With a twirl of Hera's finger, we begin to see Wonder Woman evolving into something more, going on to say that she is the first to admit that gods aren't really that special. They do ridiculous things out of spite. They fall in love with inappropriate people, but they have something that the mortals do not. The gods have eternity. And this is where we see the transformation of Wonder Woman. She has gone from demigod to a full-on god. Alright gang, so as we pick up with this issue, we are picking up in Philadelphia, and we are picking up with Billy, not believing that he was zapped by Apollo and didn't even get one of those lousy prophecies. But as he walks around, he is looking around. This is when he runs into giants, literal giants. Knowing what he has to do, he says those words. He yells Shazam, and Captain Marvel is here. As he goes up to the sky, he starts laying down the hate on these giants. But with punching them in the face, he finds that this does hurt a little bit. This doesn't stop him from fighting. It doesn't stop him from pressing the attack. As he sits here and fights, that is where we have Mary Marvel coming into the fold, asking how he's been and saying that she has been looking for him everywhere. The two of them together, they lay these giants down. Now, Mary Marvel, she was just recently at Themyscira. That is the Wonder Woman tie-in issue number 797, the issue that I referenced in the beginning that we will be covering later on. But we see that Captain Marvel just flies off, transforming back into Billy, letting Mary Marvel take care of the giants. Billy knows that this stuff didn't just appear out of nowhere. Something sent these creatures. Somebody planned for all of this. That means somebody knows how to stop it, thinking that if he calls on the wisdom of Solomon, he may be able to figure out what is going on. This is when somebody golden appears to him, telling him that he must be on guard, that peril lies behind him, and it also lies ahead of him. The answers he seeks, they lie with the gods, telling him to find them on Mount Olympus, that he will need a guide between the worlds. The guide is waiting for him in Washington, D.C., and though she does not know her role that she will play yet, she is about to learn. That's what takes us to the next morning at Washington, D.C. We have Yara Flor that is cutting down a Hydra. As it stands, they have yet to get word back from Diana. If they haven't heard from her by now, they must assume that she has failed in Mount Olympus. And so if Diana has died, they are going to need a plan. But if Diana of Themyscira has died, the war on Earth is about to get so much worse than it ever was before. That's where we pick up elsewhere in DC. The hooded man who had grabbed that golden hand out of the water. He sits here on the bus. He sits here waiting for somebody. That somebody is Billy. When Billy gets on the bus, he sits right down next to this cloaked individual. While the two have conversation and this hooded individual is being very cloak and dagger about what he is discussing, we see that the bus, it starts going all over the road. Seeing just a glimpse of that golden hand in the bag, Billy asks what that is, and he says that it is a personal item. As everybody runs off the bus, we see that Orthros is here, and our hooded individual, he jumps out, recognizing that mortals are always panicking a little early. He draws out a sword and he fights against this two-headed dog. Not too far off in the distance, we hear the word Shazam. And we have Captain Marvel that is here battling with him. Our mysterious hooded individual has already cut off one of the heads, and now we have Billy facing against the other head. But it doesn't take long for Yara Flor to show up, and she puts this beast down. With our hooded guy now gone and disappeared, Captain Marvel says that he was right, that Yara Flor would find him. Now, they have never met, they don't really know each other. But Billy, Captain Marvel, is letting her know that they need to go to Mount Olympus and that she is to be the guide. Now at first, Yara Flor is a little bit hesitant to be working with him, not even knowing his real name, just seeing a guy in a suit that looks more like he's playing a hero than actually being one. That's really just her taking a jab at how young he looks, but also saying that they have already sent an emissary to Olympus, one that hasn't returned, that if she has failed, there is no way that Captain Marvel could succeed. But he says that he can fight, that if he can't persuade them to stop, then he is going to make them listen. This piques her interest, almost in disbelief, but asking if you really want to fight your way into the Hall of the Gods, believing that he must be out of his mind. But he has good timing. She could use some brainless muscle to help her find out what happened to Wonder Woman. This is when he finally clicks it in his head that this must be Wonder Girl. Not really a name that she likes to use too much, but it is her official title. She tells everybody to just call her Yara, and so they take off to Mount Olympus. Not long afterwards, we have two individuals that are holding guard outside the doorways. They are supposed to be here to stop any intruder that might try to come in. With Captain Marvel and Yara Flor coming in, dispatching all of the guards, they stand before Queen Hera. And Queen Hera, she just laughs, talking to Billy, saying that you are a foolish boy, because of course she really did see this coming, that they may think highly of their own power, but they fail to consider the gods have powers that they can't even see. This is when she calls out the wizard. The wizard coming out saying that he is impressed that Captain Marvel has made it much further than he ever thought he would. This is when Billy knows that there is definitely some trouble up ahead, telling Billy, do you really understand what is happening here? Are you certain that you are fighting on the right side? The wizard says that he was right to doubt him, that his sister is clearly the superior intellect. The wizard says he wished that it had not come to this, but here we are, telling him that if he is going to meddle, then he has no choice but to take back the power that he had once granted him. This is where we see the wizard taking the power from Captain Marvel. The wizard Shazam now has his powers back. Billy left powerless, helpless, and Yara Flor left all by herself. Alright gang, so as we jump into this issue, we are picking up at the former temple of Zeus. Now that Zeus has been defeated, Hera taking his place, we pick up at the exact moment where Wonder Woman is supposed to be going into her godhood. She is supposed to be ascending, but Hera betrayed her. Hera never had any intention of letting her have divinity. Hera lets Diana know that because humanity worships you, because your father had hoped that you would ascend one day, these are the reasons that she will never be a god. And so Eros goes to tie her up, using the lasso of truth to do so. And even Eros is a little hesitant on trying to cast out Diana. They know that she could be a very powerful asset in this war moving forward. This is what takes us to a little bit later on the edges of the Promethean cliffs. And while Diana had never seen these cliffs before, she knows what this place is. She recognizes a place of punishment. They use the lasso of truth to tie her up, which means freeing herself is going to be impossible on her own. Moreover, she has titans, more specifically a Cyclops, that is watching over her, having Titan sentries keep guard. This is one of Hera's secret weapons. With Wonder Woman on this cliffside contemplating all the decisions that she has made, recognizing that she was a fool to trust Hera, but she knows that there is also something more at play. This is when Hecate comes to Wonder Woman. She says that she comes on behalf of her mother, that she wanted to intervene, but if Hera was able to imprison them both, this could be a much worse situation. But Wonder Woman also knows that Hecate, she comes with a price. There is always something that she is getting out of this. Not trusting the situation, she tells Hecate that I may trust my mother, but I do not trust you. That if my mother wants me free, she must send another. And with Hecate disappearing, Wonder Woman sits here trying to break the lasso. And if she could, she would have by now. She would have shattered it into 1,000 pieces. While she struggles to try and break this rope, she tries to free herself. She sees that Century Cyclops in the distance. He becomes beheaded. The head of the Cyclops cut clean off of its shoulders. And the person that did this is the hooded stranger, the one that we have seen making his way throughout both Wonder Woman and the Shazam comics. At this point, we're really not sure who this person is or what they're after, but we do see that they are helping our heroes out, helping Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman. And so the stranger, he comes in, he rescues her. Untying her, they begin to make their descent. And while Wonder Woman is still very skeptical of anybody that might be coming to rescue her, our stranger lets it be known that he does serve only himself. But if you want the truth, you have the lasso, all you have to do is tie it around me. But Wonder Woman doesn't want to do this. She prefers truth that is given willingly. She is also choosing to trust this stranger, if only to remind herself the strength that comes with faith. But they hurry down the cliffside. Hera is going to have many pawns out here that are going to be coming for them. As they make their way to sea level, this is where we have a Minotaur coming from the water. And while Wonder Woman and the Minotaur, they share some blows, the stranger grabs Wonder Woman and they begin to run. Hera is now enlisting an army of Titans. This is just one of them. That is when the undead begin to rise out of the sea. But Wonder Woman, being a stubborn-headed woman, she refuses to back down. That if Hera wants to send an army at her, she will fight them. grabbing one of the undead, trying to figure out who this person is following. She learns that it is from Euronymous, one that dwells in the underworld feeding on rotten corpse. But Hera has tinted him to the surface. This comes with a promise of warm flesh. As the undead begin to herald this monster in, we see it rise out of the water. Our hooded stranger cutting down the undead, telling Wonder Woman that she must leave. That if you're not going to adhere to my advice, maybe you will follow an old friend. That is where we see Ratatosk, the small squirrel-like creature that had guided her through the realm of Asgard. With Wonder Woman wondering what he is doing here, he says that the story is too big and they have to move now. But Asgard does know what is going on. The gods love to gossip. There are many troubles coming upon them, one that Odin decided he is staying out of. Wonder Woman concerned that if it has reached Asgard, if this war is all over the world, if everybody is hearing about it, shouldn't we stay here in Olympus and fight? But he lets Wonder Woman know the simplest answer is no, that she is needed, and her yearn to fight, it is very much important. But the battle is not here at this moment. They make their way into a small cave system. Inside the cave system, there is a swirling pool of water. This will be a shortcut to Themyscira. When Wonder Woman jumps in, her companion, he will return back to Asgard. With Wonder Woman thanking him for his guidance, the two of them say their goodbyes, but not their forever goodbyes. That maybe he will come visit once this war is over. But Wonder Woman, she jumps into the water. She jumps in, and she rises out of the Themyscira Well of Souls. As she begins to climb out, the undead had followed behind her. They grab at her and they try to pull her back. That is when Queen Nubia shows up. Her and the Well of Souls having a very deep connection to one another. She felt the disruption inside the waters. Wonder Woman doing a very quick sit rep, just filling her in on everything that has been going on. The Queen understanding that this all makes sense. If Hera has taken over, if Zeus has fallen, that is why the island's protection is no longer here. They have had their hands full ever since the protection went down. But then a stranger arrived. While they battle whatever might be coming through that well, banishing it all back to Tartarus. They begin to talk about the stranger, only for that stranger to be right there in the stairwell. Wonder Woman a little confused how this guy can be at two places at once. Just recently, he was back on Olympus helping her escape. Now, they find him right here. But he says that time moves differently on Olympus, something that Wonder Woman already knows. And in his line of work, it does pay to travel fast. This is when they begin to get an earthquake. Not really sure what might be coming. We see the ground split, green smoke filling up the room. All of the Amazons have gathered for battle. They prepare to battle the horde of undead. But this time, they are facing something that is much worse than anything that has shown up at their doorstep yet. The voice calling from the darkness. He greets the Amazons and hopes that they have prepared for battle, because Hades has brought an army. Picking us up elsewhere on the cliffs of Themyscira, we have the hooded stranger and Wonder Woman that are making their escape. Wonder Woman needing to return to the land of man. She thanks the stranger for all the help that he has done, but she can no longer ask him to shed any more blood for her. That this is her fight. It is her fight to protect her friends, to protect her sisters, and to take revenge on the gods. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with Wonder Woman looking at the disaster that is in Washington, D.C. Flying here from Themyscira only to see the wreckage, the carnage, and the flames. And the dialogue that she has going on, she says that she has become a goddess. But we just covered the Wonder Woman tie-in, and Hera specifically said that you are not a goddess, that you are not ascending, that she would never allow that to happen. So we see Wonder Woman in this armor. She says that she has ascended to godhood, so on and so forth. But according to the Wonder Woman tie-in that we covered yesterday, that is not the case. But for the sake of the story, let's just move past that. At this point, Wonder Woman is feeling responsible for all the wreckage. She believes that this war was not inevitable, but yet they must fight it. This is where she sees Cheetah. In absolute tears, she says that she sold the fate of humankind for the fate of her sisters. But it was all for nothing. It was a trick and a lie. Cheetah saying that negotiating with the gods could always go sideways. That none of this is your fault. Wonder Woman finding herself completely overwhelmed, not sure how they are gonna fight all the gods at once. This is what takes us to Olympus. Billy finding himself in a cage. We see him yell Shazam, but when he transforms into Captain Marvel, he is nothing but an old man. And the more times he tries, the weaker he feels himself getting. He assumes that this was the wizard's plan all along. Sitting here wallowing in his own sorrow, we see a little mouse making its way into his cell, and this mouse begins to talk. We see that this is the goddess Hecate, and she is here to help Billy escape, saying that if you stay here, Hera is going to feed you to that wizard, but she was sent by the one who sent the vision to him. This is when Yara Flor comes into the room. Being able to make her escape, she almost left Billy behind, but then she got a conscience. Now with them busting Billy out, the three of them are gonna make their escape, transforming Billy into one of the goddess's servants, one of the priestesses. They make their way up the spiral staircase, and Billy, he apologizes to Yara. He had no idea what he was doing, and he should have said so. That they came in guns blazing, ready to take down the gods, and only found themselves in a much worse situation. As they make their way into the palace gardens, we see a conversation between Hermes and Aphrodite. Really, they're just talking about petty things. They're talking about love and lust and everything in between. As our heroes try to make their escape, Aphrodite runs into Yara Flor, and Hermes, he runs into the priestess, which is a disguise for Billy. While Yara Flor is trying to argue and just get out of here, trying to make it to where Aphrodite will let them run away, they are able to sneak off because Hermes and his pettiness, his shallowness, he was trying to hit on Billy. Aphrodite recognizing this, Hermes and her begin to argue. This gives our three the opportunity to run away. This is when they run into Hippolyta, now the patron goddess of the Amazons. She has ascended to godhood, and she has been caught between the desperation of the gods and the terror of humankind. Now she fears that Wonder Woman is going to suffer the same fate if they do not return to Themyscira and face this conflict head on. And though the goddess is not the patron for Shazam or Captain Marvel, she gives her blessing to Billy, because what they are about to do is going to take all the strength that he has left. As we head back over to Man's World, we have Wonder Woman and Cheetah. They are discussing on what the best course of action is moving forward. That is when they have a giant rumbling, and they are met by minotaurs. They are met by griffins. They are met by Hermes. An army from the gods now stands before them. They accuse Wonder Woman of aligning against them, but also sending spies and saboteurs into their midst. Most likely speaking of Yara Flor and Billy. With Hermes feeling betrayed in their greatest hour of need, Wonder Woman has become the enemy of the gods. But before this battle can get on, we see Steve, Siggy, and a few other individuals coming up to join the fray. But that is not everybody. We also have Yara Flor and Billy. With Billy blessed by Hippolyta, we see that his powers are returned. Maybe not to the extent that they once were, but enough strength to fight in this battle. And so the forces of good and evil, of God and mortal, they clash together. With Wonder Woman and Hermes charging at one another, she uses the lasso of truth. She brings Hermes down to the ground. As he tries to get away, a Minotaur comes from behind Wonder Woman. He takes a great swing at her. This gives Hermes the opportunity to fly up into the air. When Wonder Woman goes to pull him down again, he knows that the lasso cannot be broken, but it can be weaponized. He grabs hold of it, and we see a giant explosion. When the smoke clears, Wonder Woman looks for anybody that might still be standing. That is when we see our hooded individual, the one that has been helping our heroes every step of the way in the shadows. He comes up to Billy and helps him back up to his feet. He says that he has come to help them. When Billy asks if you brought an army with you, our hooded stranger, he says that he doesn't need an army, because for Ares, god of war, he is an army all by himself. Alright gang, so as we pick up with this issue, we are picking up in Washington DC. We are on the battlefield and Ares has exposed himself as the god of war. Previous to this, he was hiding in the shadows, wearing a cloak but helping our heroes along the way. We didn't understand who this stranger was or what purpose he was serving. But now we see that he has been aiding Wonder Woman and all of her companions. Now for Ares, the only side that he ever really takes is his own. But in this conflict, he is standing to lose everything that he has built. For if mankind places their fears in the gods on high, they just might stop having war with one another. Ares believes that after Hera is defeated, humanity will return to their desperation and greed. War will be a certainty. This is where he thrives. And so while Ares may be selfish, he may be cruel, he may be uncaring, he has always been forthright. At least for now, he will stand with them. And while many are opposed to the idea of the god of war siding with them because of who he is, they have no other choice in this fight. As all the heroes gather, they prepare for what is about to come. Descending down from the heavens, we have Hera and her gods that follow behind her. She has come to put a stop to Wonder Woman once and for all. Wonder Woman coming to understand that Hera has always wanted her head on a pike. This is what you have truly desired. And so she offers a 1v1. One-on-one if you dare. And while the other gods, they do caution her, Ares seems to be siding with her. They don't know if this is a trick or a trap, but Hera doesn't care. This is a reckoning that has been long overdue. Both of them agreeing. We see the two goddesses go at one another, with Wonder Woman giving the first blow, but Hera, she throws it right back at her. These two titans are just absolutely decimating one another, destroying everything that may be in their path. The daughter of Cronus and the daughter of Zeus. Their battle reverberating through this entire city. But it does look like Hera is getting the upper hand. With Hera just beating the living crap out of Wonder Woman, we see her fall down to the ground. Currently unconscious, laying out on the ground, this is where Mary Marvel comes over to her. Right now, they need Wonder Woman more than anybody else. If anybody is worthy of this power, it is Wonder Woman. And so Mary Marvel, she gives her power over to Wonder Woman, touching her on the forehead and yelling Shazam. We see Wonder Woman ascend to godhood. Mary Marvel in disbelief that she was even capable of doing such a thing. Ares seems to be the only one that finds this fascinating. None of them thought this was possible, and yet here it is. Hera seeing this as deception. They were supposed to have a one-on-one fight, and Mary Marvel broke that. Now this fight will continue on until one of them have died. As Hera comes in with all her force, it looks like Steve may very well be taken out of the equation. But this is when the goddess of love comes to him. She didn't plan on intervening, but the devotion as strong as his is rare. She will not allow him to die on this battlefield today, but also telling Steve that his love for her may be immortal, but Steve Trevor is not. Diana is now a god. She has slipped beyond the veil and forever out of Steve's reach. As he finds himself back on the battlefield completely unscathed, Wonder Woman takes to the sky, glowing so bright that you can't see anything but the light that shines. Hera gives the command to kill them all. as our heroes scatter, many of them lacking any kind of powers. They run for their lives, but when they look up to the sky, they see Wonder Woman. That lightning bolt now on her chest. Divinity has come to her. She has now become a full-on goddess. As Ares welcomes her to divinity, they have always seen the world from opposing angles. But this side of her, this is something that Ares could get used to. That is when Hera goes after Wonder Woman. Using lightning from her fingertips, she does everything she can to bring down the new goddess, with Hera vowing that she is going to send Wonder Woman down to Hades. We see the lightning crack in Wonder Woman's eyes, and now the real fight is about to begin. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with Wonder Woman, now having the powers of Mary Marvel along with her own already. She goes to stand against the goddess of all gods, Hera. As we see the flames and the destruction from this battle, Wonder Woman grabs the lasso of truth. She grabs hold of Hera and brings her down to the ground. But Hera lets us know that her power now is greater than it ever could have been. And this is when she yells, Shazam! And with the bolt of lightning, this is where we see the wizard Shazam, telling Billy that he picked the wrong side, that it is almost predictable for him to sit here and still fight on the side of Wonder Woman. But to maintain the balance between the worlds, the wizard is prepared to unleash all of his might that is at his disposal. This is when he imbues Hera with all the power that he has, and we see the goddess begin to glow blue. As she becomes more powerful, this is when Wonder Woman comes to intervene. While Hera is getting this power up, we see Wonder Woman grab something. She draws from a higher power, what she calls unity, because a goddess is able to call upon the power of all who serve her, but allies who fight as equals. This allows her to call upon so much more. From Mary Marvel to Yara Flor, she calls upon this power, and we see a devastating blow given to Hera. In the aftermath of this explosion, what we see is Wonder Woman completely unharmed, and Hera says that this is cheating, that they cheated and she wasn't ready. As the other gods, they stand and witness. They have come to the conclusion that this battle is over, that Hera has been defeated. The other gods come to Wonder Woman and they let her know that they are too evenly matched to continue this fight. But Wonder Woman wants more than a simple handshake. She wants a guarantee of good behavior. This is where Ares pulls out that golden hand, the hand that belongs to Eros. But Ares has no intention of handing this over. This is where we have the god of love. The god of love will be safekeeping this, guarding it with his life. This is in an effort to keep them all honest. In this war, the gods only thought of themselves, but it is the demigods, the discarded children, the ones with both a foot in the mortal world and the world of the gods. It will be up to them to keep the peace. And when Eros does give a threat to our god of love, he says to be careful what you say. If the demigod of love were to ever wield the hand of desire, all of the worlds would be covered in anguish. This is a warning that if they ever decide this reign of terror again, they will all face very heavy consequences. With Wonder Woman looking at the destruction in DC, they know that they have a lot of work to do. But before everybody goes their separate ways, we have Ares. He lets Wonder Woman know that the truce or whatever bargain they had before, that has now come to an end. That today they may be parting ways, but these old adversaries, they will meet again. Meanwhile, on Olympus, we have Hera that is returning, but as she returns to the steps of Olympus, this is when the wizard Shazam comes to her. He lets her know that she is unworthy of the power that she has been given, and so he takes it back. And so taking us over to Themyscira, the Amazons currently facing against Hades and his army. And with this battle raging on, we have the goddess Hippolyta, Athena, Artemis, and a handful of other goddesses that have come to fight by the side of the Amazons. And it doesn't take long, but this battle is quickly taken care of. Our goddesses clean the floor with Hades. But Hades isn't trying to have a war. His sister Hera may have wanted this, but the only thing he was going for is an opportunity to expand his domain. With the Amazons abandoning their island, left unguarded, he took this as an opportunity. Now recognizing that his decision was very rash to do so, him and his army of dead, they are leaving. And with their defeat, we have Hippolyta and the other goddesses. They all come to the Amazons, and Hippolyta has been here since the very beginning, from the earliest days of Themyscira. And while goddesses over the years have gave many gifts, today the gift she is giving is the magic of Themyscira restored. And while everybody cheers, everybody is ecstatic that they have this back, many are concerned of the gifts of the gods, that with a gift from the gods there is always something in return that they want. But Hippolyta is letting us know that this is given freely. The island's magic, it is restored, the protection is there, and they require nothing in return, not even worship. That the goddesses will always be here, that the Amazons will always have their love, always have their favor whenever they need it. And so with the Amazons no longer at the bidding of the gods, no longer tethered to them, their fate is finally their own. The time for the Amazons controlling their own destiny is finally upon them. As we pick up with Billy and Mary, the wizard Shazam has come to them, both of them saying that they need to talk. And what Billy says is that him siding with the gods, he doesn't care that the wizard did this. At some point, the wizard lost faith in him. Maybe he was unworthy, maybe it was the way that he was acting that led him down this path. But with everything that has happened, it proves that the world needs someone that wields this magic to protect the less powerful. Earth still needs its champion, and so he says it should be Mary. She is smarter than Billy. If Mary was in his shoes, she would have never fallen for this trap. She would have never gotten her strength zapped. Billy has been struggling for a long time to find where he fits in. But the thing is, Mary feels exactly the same way. This is where Shazam goes to let us know that Billy really doesn't understand everything that is going on. The moment the wizard was cut away from the Rock of Eternity, he was sure that he had been betrayed. But he refused to be responsible for unleashing a second Black Adam on the world. This is what caused him to align with Hera. He had convinced himself that power should only be held by those with power, that the gods were the only ones that deserved the strength of the wizard Shazam. But Mary gave up her powers for another. Billy is right now trying to do the same. Shazam is saying that he is the one that acted unworthy, and so he would like to return the power back to Billy. As for Mary, this is when the goddesses descend down to her, letting Mary know that not all gods are cruel as Hera. And after the courage that she displayed on the battlefield, the goddesses together, they are granting her new power, the stamina of Artemis, the agility of Selene, the flight of Zephyrus, the wisdom of Minerva, and the invulnerability of Aurora. And last but not least, the strength of Hippolyta, granting the power to the two children. They tell them to speak the words. And that is where we see Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel now restored back to their rightful glory. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This issue definitely felt rushed. The epic battle that was supposed to be both Wonder Woman and Hera, it quickly came to an end. And it came to the end because Wonder Woman has friends. You know, that's really what it comes down to. Now, they're going off the idea that Wonder Woman is a goddess, and because she is in fact a goddess, that she has followers like any other god. This gives her power. Now in this, she called it unity. It made it feel really corny and really lame. It was kind of feeling like, with my friends by my side, nothing can defeat me. Even though you are the goddess, the queen of all gods, and you're powered by the wizard Shazam, all I need is my friends by my side, and I can defeat you. Maybe it's just the way that Willow Wilson wrote this. And if I'm gonna be completely honest, usually when it's the writer Willow Wilson, I just can't get on board with it. Most of her writing I'm just not a fan of. This also doesn't explain how the gods are going to keep on surviving. Because the reason this all started is because the gods were dying. No one was praying to them. No one was giving them worship. And that seems to be a problem that is still standing. And so hopefully we're gonna see this resolved in one way or another. But the fact that the gods are dying, that has remained unchanged. It is cool that we have Mary Marvel getting a new power set. The acronym Shazam still fitting very perfectly for her. They grabbed just the right goddesses to make this plausible. And so Billy and Mary, they are back to 100%. Having a Shazam comic come out, I believe, next month. Being part of Dawn of DC, we are going to see some new adventures with the two of them. But all in all, this issue, it truly did feel rushed. The battles ended very quickly, everything was done and over with. Even the battle with Hades was over in seconds. Now, I get that one because you had many goddesses coming down and just beating the crap out of him. And then Hades didn't want war to begin with. He could have waged war against the goddesses, but really he was just trying to take an opportunity while everybody was away from Themyscira. For me personally, if the battle with Wonder Woman and Hera had lasted a little bit longer, I probably wouldn't have so much issue with this comic. But the battle was over so quickly, it ended so abruptly, that it really did take away from everything that they had built up. It will be interesting to see where all of this is going to be leading. What is next for Wonder Woman? What is next for Billy and Mary? And now that Hera has been removed, no longer in charge, it is going to be very curious on who is going to sit on the throne of Mount Olympus. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with this series, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this story. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to free comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.